Hello. All right. Give it just another couple minutes for people who are still showing up. Forgive my voice or my lack of voice today. Had the thing that's going around. Feel free to say hello in the chat. Let me know who you are, who's there. See a few of you. Get started in just a couple minutes. And let me know where you heard about this session. I think a lot of you are coming from Substack this time. Love to see how you heard about the workshop or the live session. It's less of a workshop, it's more of a session today. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. You know, we had a lot of people signed up, so hopefully people will still trickle in. Oh, yes. Molly, yes. Oh, okay. From Caro. Did you read the book? It's pretty amazing. Yeah, I'm same, couldn't put it down. I got I got started. That was it. I got started, then I got finished. It was just way too relatable. Loved it. Okay. So I'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so I don't know if everyone that's here is in the same post-religious phase, or it could just be something similar. But you know, it felt like we did the hard part. We left the system. Oh, thank you. Oh, sorry. You didn't even know about the book. That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. Good. Hopefully there's more of that because I think like that that book helps those of us that relate feel seen in a way that not a lot of things can. So okay, so we did the thing, we left the system, we did the hard work, and then life is so much better, you know, in so many ways. That part is totally real. Like, you know, we're not waking up with low level dread every morning, monitoring every thought the way that we were. We're not constantly like, you know, as much am I doing this right and having an actual external mark of, you know, how we're supposed to be doing things. Not that we didn't internalize that, obviously, but not having, you know, that explicit monitoring. Our relationships might feel more real, more honest. That does for me, more authentic when I connect with people. It's not in service of, you know, sharing anything or any ulterior motive. It's just real. Um, You might feel closer to your kids, your partner, your friends. You can say what you actually think. And there's this quiet sense of, I would never go back to that situation. But at the same time, for a lot of us, something else is happening too. You sit down to start something simple that you need to do, and you just can't. You think about it, you circle it, you think about it more, you open your phone instead, open Instagram, and tell yourself, close it. It's not that hard. Just do it. And still you don't. You look at your life and there's nothing technically stopping you from, you know, what you want to do. And yet you still say can't seem to move forward. And you don't even know necessarily what direction you're trying to move in. Things that feel obvious don't feel obvious anymore. I get a lot of those messages that are just, I don't even know. Like, not only can I not get started, but I don't know what to get started on. Job may not even feel the same. A lot of things may not feel the same. Nothing is obvious anymore. You might catch yourself thinking a lot, what am I even doing with my life? Big decisions feel like they just matter too much. And so you don't make them. And everything feels important, which means nothing is more important than the other. And then nothing gets done. You might be late more than you used to be. You drop things, you might avoid things. And there's this moment people hit where they think, why can't I make myself do basic things? And right behind that, was I always like this and I just didn't notice? And then right behind that, oh my God, is this just who I am? Because there was this version of you who could handle things. You showed up, you followed through, you did your church responsibilities and people could count on you. You were predictable in many ways. You might feel like a failure a lot of the time, but a lot of the time you showed up. You might not like how it all worked and it might not have felt great, but things got done and you knew how to move through your day. And now you're looking at things that should be simple and they're not happening. You're late in ways you weren't before. You forget things that you wouldn't have forgotten before. You avoid things that you don't know how to do explicitly. You're used to explicit instructions. And it just doesn't line up because you've already proven you can function. So now it feels like one of two things has to be true. Either you've somehow gotten worse, or that version of you wasn't real in the first place. And neither of those feel okay. Because if you've gotten worse, that's scary. But if that version of you wasn't real, what does that say about everything you built your life on? So your brain does what it does. It turns inward. You say things like, I need to get it together. I need to get over this. I'm being lazy. I'm avoiding. Stop procrastinating. I should be able to do this. But underneath that, there's something else that you might not even say out loud, which is, I don't trust myself anymore. You don't want the old structure back because you know what that cost you. But this feeling of being untethered doesn't feel like freedom either. It feels like you're the one in charge now and you don't know how to drive. That's the part nobody explains, nobody warned us about. We splashed into this pool all on our own. And this is usually where people land on one explanation, which is something is wrong with me. I am broken. I am not disciplined enough. I am not motivated enough. I should be able to handle this by now. This feels true, but it is not what is happening. What is happening is much more simple and mechanical than that, much less personal, even though it feels completely personal. I'm sorry again for my voice, hearing myself, and it's great. I'm trying to get better, guys. And this is because you did not just leave a belief system. You lost a structure that was doing a lot of work for you. So instead of asking, why can't I do this? A more accurate question is, what used to be handling this for me and isn't anymore? What you lost wasn't just structure, it was the scaffolding that was holding up your entire life, your basically your entire thought structure, right? Scaffolding is anything that's outside of you that reduces what your brain has to hold, to decide, to manage. It answers questions before you have to ask them. In a high control system, those answers are everywhere. We didn't have to think about much. We didn't have to make many decisions. And if we did, we knew the answers were out there and we knew where to go to get them, right? So our brains are constantly being oriented, in those systems. And we don't need to generate our own direction. We just step right into it. And when that disappears, nothing replaces it automatically. And now your brain has to generate everything from scratch. And I want to run you through what that actually looks like. So you might sit down and decide, I need to send this email. Just a quick one. It has been on your list for days. It keeps carrying through to every new day's to-do list. It's not super urgent. It's just something that needs to get done. So you open your laptop, you pull up your inbox, you click compose, and then it's freeze. What exactly am I asking for? You start typing, you delete it, you start again. Because now you're thinking, how do I say this clearly? Do I need context? Is this too long? Is this too short? Am I being direct enough? Am I being too direct? And then, do I even need to send this? If I don't send this, will this just go away? Is this something I could figure out on my own? Am I wasting their time? Am I being annoying? What if they don't respond? What if they do respond? And now I've just created something else to deal with and a new thing on my list. So you reread what you wrote, you tweak one sentence, then you tweak another sentence, and now you're thinking about your tone, because tone matters in a way that it didn't before. There's no script. There's no right way to say anything. So now you're holding clarity, tone, relationship, timing, outcome, and what happens after you hit send. All at once. And it's not that you can't do it. So you leave it open and you tell yourself you'll come back to it. And from the outside, it looks like nothing. But inside, your brain is trying to generate structure. And it's working, and it's working, and it's working. And that structure used to just be there. And now you have to create it from scratch. And no one has ever taught you how to do that. And at some point, it's easier just not to send the email. And this is where cognitive load comes in. Your brain has limits, not moral limits, but functional limits. You get so much juice to your decision-making brain, your prefrontal cortex. Every day, this is one of those things when they talk about willpower, that you only kind of get so much in a day. And, if your morning is full of decisions and a lot of creating structure where there was none, you're going to be in cognitive fatigue, basically, for the rest of the day. And everything is going to be harder. When those limits are exceeded, it doesn't just feel hard, it just stops working. And you get that brain fried feeling. You can't start, you can't decide, you can't follow through, because now you're holding direction prioritization, timing, initiation, evaluation, all at one time. And that's not a small increase. That is a completely different workload than what you started trying to do. And when that load goes up, capacity goes way down. So now you have more to manage than ever, less available energy to manage it, and trying harder doesn't fix it. It just drains you faster, and it actually reduces your capacity. So some people try and add structure back in. So when you look at what we talked about earlier, this is how that actually shows up. Decisions feel harder, not because you've lost the ability to decide, but because there's no longer a built-in framework filtering what matters. So every decision carries more weight, is muddier, is less clear. There are more variables and more consequences. Jobs, a lot of times, feel like they don't fit anymore. Not because you're suddenly incompatible with work, but because you're no longer choosing inside of a defined system. You are choosing from everything. There are just too many options. Your brain has to generate what matters, what fits you, who is you, what's enough, what's worth it. You know, when you've earned rest, when you've earned a break. Motivation does not just show up on cue. And that's not because you don't care, but because motivation often follows structure. It's attached to deadlines. It's attached to clear-cut expectations. It comes with clarity and it follows a reduced load. And when your brain is already holding too much, there is nothing left to initiate tasks with. So what that looks like is indecision, a lack of direction, no motivation. And that is often just too much load, not enough scaffolding, and a system that has not been rebuilt yet to work with who you are now as a person. But the only structure you have known is rigid, external, and controlling. So your brain resists it. Now you're stuck between no structure and overwhelm, or too much structure and then resistance. And no one teaches you what goes in the middle. Rebuilding is not trying harder. It is not recreating the old system. It is learning how to build just enough scaffolding to support your brain without overriding it. And the right kind of scaffolding that doesn't stress you out, burn you out, and drain your desire to move forward. That's the skill that is missing. So now for some of you, having language for this is already a big shift, but usually there's one place in your life where this is really showing up and where it's really on fire. It's not usually everywhere all at once, can be, but usually one place, and it's something that keeps looping over and over. And the thing might feel simple, but it isn't moving. And what most people do is push harder or avoid that thing and keep the load exactly where it is. But the problem isn't effort. It's that your brain is trying to operate without enough scaffolding. So what actually helps is figuring out where the load is coming from, what is missing structurally, and then what would reduce the pressure so that you can take a step, so that you can move forward. And that's actually what I do in my clarity reset sessions is we take one area and we just slow it all the way down and figure out not just what is the goal, but what are all the decisions that are stacked inside this one thing? And where does it break? What are you trying to hold in your head? That shouldn't be there anymore. What is old information, old expectations? Because most people are trying to solve the wrong problem. And once we see the actual load, we don't add more. We just build enough scaffolding to take the structure off the brain inside your actual capacity. I'm going to drop the link to that session in the chat for anyone who is interested in that. So it is, instead of I need to get together or I need to get it together, you leave with, this is what specifically is making this hard. And this is what is the next step. And then I send you a written recap so you don't have to hold any of it afterwards. So if something is coming to mind right now, that is a place to start. One place to reduce the load, have the right support, and move forward. Otherwise, I am continuing to talk about this on my Substack this week. I have a piece coming out probably tomorrow, where I get really down and specific into kind of that load of decisions. And then I'm continuing with a series that breaks down this process. So hopefully this makes sense. Even if no one has ever explained this to you, and if something is not working, it's not because you're incapable. And it's not because something, or it is because something that used to support you is just gone. Nothing has gone wrong. You didn't imagine the relief and you didn't imagine the difficulty. And that's something that can be rebuilt. Okay, so that's the end of my portion. And I want to leave a space. I see we lost people. If anybody has any questions or if you have a question that you want to drop in the chat, I'll hang around for a minute and be available to answer. Otherwise, just keep an eye on my Substack, like I said. And here on my YouTube, I do have some videos about this that I will be uploading soon, where I do continue to break this down and hopefully help clarify some steps forward for anyone who is feeling stuck. No questions. Okay. Well, I'll end the stream, and thank you to those who attended and those who are going to be watching the replay later today or tomorrow. Please feel free to email me with any other questions that you might have, Brittany at Ex-Mormon ADHD Coach.com. And I will chat with you soon.